Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Stephanie coming to you from the Trinity River up here near Willow Creek, California. We are on the next step, and the next step is to install images. So I've been working very hard on choosing images that I think would look good in here. And when it flips up, it does that. You see that? So, since I knew these were the flips, you have to realize that it's going to flip, right? So if it flips, then you have to have the image on the other side. And I decided that I was going to put these over the top. So I've just built the flips off of the one piece. Flip, 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 flip. And then this one, she's cool. Here these guys are. Again, I've tried to work on composition that goes into a circular motion. So she's looking in, they're all moving kind of in the same direction, right? And when this flips up, look how amazing she is. Look at how dynamic that image is. And we have her, and then we have these three practicing on these swings. Those two. And then that one. Now, she's the only one that's kind of going the off direction. She's doing a little Mary Poppins over here, just kind of flying away. That's all right. As I look at this here in the book, I'm not sure if I love this image. So, but I don't hate it. I mean, it is kind of cool. These girls were on this roundabout swing. Yeah. Just kind of doing random photos, right? So, I think now that I am to this stage, I took a double-sided tape and ran it along the inside of this frame to put this photo down. And then I took the double-sided tape to run it on the inside here to put that photo down. So now that I have all the components and pieces and parts, I can start to assemble. And these pieces, I mean, I was just noticing down here, this has turned out just to be just such a beautiful, beautiful background. I love the coloring. I love the shimmer that it has. It's very vintage looking. I think I'm going to put this down with Fabri-Tac. I don't know if this is my used Fabri-Tac or my brand new one. It's a brand new one. I don't know where the used one is. Not surprising. Oh, wait. Okay. Ooh, good old Fabri-Tac. The weather today, it was rainy, rainy, rainy last night. Oh my goodness, did it storm. Yesterday was a beast of a day. And about 10 o'clock in the morning, the generator quit. Just quit. Completely and totally. And like first I was like, okay, did it run out of fuel? Because we haven't had power for 3 days. Well, it's a 500-gallon tank, so it should not have run out of fuel. But of course I had to go to town to call Craig, who is Kelly's husband, who lives here. It's his property, his wife. And so I had to go to town to call him. And then we kind of stressed out for a little bit. And then I went to Ace Hardware to try to find somebody who could help with the generator. Or you know, if they knew of anything. I don't know why Ace Hardware. It's just that I've gone there a couple times and the people are really friendly. And so that guy gave me an idea to go to this Bighorn Equipment, which is right down the road. Well, I never made it into Bighorn Equipment because I went to the AmeriGas first. Now, When the generator quit, I went and looked at the gas tank, and I didn't know if what I was reading was like the amount of gas, or if I learned so much yesterday. I really, truly did learn so much yesterday. But the AmeriGas guy said that he would come out and he would take a look at it with me. He would follow me out because he was worried that the regulator on the gas tank had frozen, because natural gas kind of condenses, and when it condenses, it turns to ice on the outside of the tank. And when that can happen, it can freeze up, or you can use up too much you have the liquid gas, and then the space that you have to use is what's in the tank of the air. So you're accessing that natural gas that's inside the tank. These things I learned. But he was worried that the regulator was messed up. Well, luckily this guy had worked on this kind of generators in the past, but on a much larger, bigger scale. So we open up the generator panel, or we open up the generator, and there is oil everywhere. And he's just like, oh my God, what happened here? And I'm like, oh, yeah, because generator, that's the only way I have heat. Whoops, there's coffee's done. So the generator is the only way I have heat, the way I have any power, the way I'm able to cook food, the way my food stays cold, and all of those wonderful other things, right? Generator is pretty darn important, and this whole area, this whole property is, you know, kind of fancy schmancy, so it runs off of this expensive generator. Well, the generator had blown the plug. It just wasn't tightened down tight enough, and the plug had blown oil everywhere. Luckily, the generator shut down before any real damage was done to it. So the AmeriGas guy, thankfully, told me what I needed to do was, you know, find out what kind of oil it takes, and then go into town, go get the oil, you know, check it as you're filling it with, you know, per quart. And, you know, clean up all of this stuff. So I went to town, but I didn't know how much oil it would take. I had no guesstimation. You know, 5W30 we'll use in other vehicles, or we can take it back to Ace. So we cleaned up. I cleaned up. Get some shop towels and got a raincoat because, of course, it was raining. And cleaned it all up. Cleaned up the whole thing. And that was a mess. Did I put this guy down already? I guess I did. No, I did not. I didn't think I did. Okay, so then the generator. Big mess. I got it refilled with oil. And it turned back on. Lo and behold, it turned back on. So that was great. And, you know, once the power's back on, then I tried to call Craig to let him know that, you know, that the generator was on. And, of course, the internet had completely... I'm on total Wi-Fi here. I am not on, you know, I'm on satellite internet. And, I had to go through and reset that whole system before my phone would work. Even though it, of course, had just been reset with the power outage, I had to reset it again to make it work. So I got that figured out. And then I go in to go to the bathroom and try to flush the toilet, and there's no water pressure. There's no water pressure. Done. And so I figured it had to be a circuit or a breaker somewhere. And so I start searching the 5-acre property to see if I can find out where this breaker would be, where this water would come in and out at. I walked down to the very bottom of the hill where the well is at. There's nothing there. It's just where the overflow comes up. It's just a little tiny pipe there and some wires. Walk back up the hill, and there's another box. Well, first I walked down the hill without any tools, and the hill is like 3 stories steep, maybe 4 stories down. It's kind of like that a lot of the way. And okay, so I walked all the way down to the very bottom to the river, and then I realized I needed tools. Then I came back up, got my socket set. I went all the way back down to the very bottom again, and then opened up those covers to see what was in there. Nothing there that could fix anything. Go up to the next one, nothing there that could fix anything. And then I go into the boiler room under the main cabin, the pump room, and I start flipping switches. Of course, here I had to move the boxes that were right behind me because I had to get to the panel to see if any of those switches had flipped to cause the generator initially. So from there, I just kept looking for some sort of breaker box. I unplug things, plug them back in, turn them on, turn them off, just trying to get it to trigger. I knew that it was something that was just triggering. So then I actually went over and asked the neighbors to see if they knew if this had happened before. And they said, yes, it had happened before. So he put in a call to the old owners, and then a neighbor, Ron, came over and helped me out, and we're looking everywhere. I mean, we're searching the whole property. We found another breaker box that's in between my place and the cabin that had one that was, but there's this clicking noise down in the pump room too that you knew that noise wasn't good. There's something, was trying to find water, or Ron thought it was a solenoid. It wasn't right. At first I thought it was the furnace that wasn't relighting. It was kind of that type of sound, the click, 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 loud. And so Ron and I go and try to troubleshoot. We're walking around the property probably for another 45 minutes, at least to another hour, trying to figure it out. I've still got no water. There is a hose that's directly connected to the emergency water pump that's up on top of the hill, on top of the property, kind of by the road. And so I could have gotten water that I could not have drank. It was not drinkable water, but it was at least water that, to flush the toilets or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go into town and go get some water. So okay, so he calls me while I'm in town. He's heard back from the old neighbor, and there is some sort of lever on the floor. There's a lever on the floor that has a pressure gauge to it, and that does not automatically come back on if it loses power. That's the trick. So yesterday was a crazy, crazy, insane day. It was a hard day. I walked 4.5 miles just here on the property, which meant I did a lot of going in circles and going in circles. I learned some stuff from the mirror gas guy. I learned stuff about the generator. I learned stuff about the water system. I learned what the well looks like down there at the very bottom, and then what the wiring looks like there. I learned about the sprinkler system breakers. I learned a lot. But I did not get a chance to work on my book or on the video for the coloring of the book. So I think I'm going to look and see if I have one more picture that I like better than this guy before I put it in. I am going to go through and now start choosing images for each of the panels. And then I was going to do it all, like this is all the clown page. But I think what I've decided to do is kind of scatter them around. Because I think with Circus, you really get this feeling of everything going on at once. If you look here, if you look there. So instead of just doing one thing of one activity, I'm going to mix up the pages. All right, I'm going to go get back to work on this. And that's my crazy story for yesterday. I hope today is much more calm. We have not had power now. We're going on day 4 without power. The propane tank is definitely using a ton of propane. I've absolutely shut off the amount of appliances and things like that. I just don't know about generators. I know nothing really about them. Even though I lived out on the ranch in Wyoming, that was just nothing that I was ever a part of, and we never lost power for 4 days. So it's supposed to come back on tonight. What happened was, with that really wet snowstorm that you'll see images of, that snowstorm took out somebody took out a power pole, and then they said they have to go X amount of miles to go and get the power pole, and they're waiting on getting the power pole. We're supposed to get the power pole back, the electricity back at 8 o'clock tonight. So you don't realize how nice it is to just turn on a light and have power. And I'm so thankful that I have that generator, and I'm really thankful I figured out how to fix it and to get it back going on. And I learned how to reset it and recalibrate the computer. It was a crazy day. It was a crazy day, but wow, I learned so much. It was a good learning experience. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go get some more images, and we'll chat soon. All right, bye. Okay, I've cut out various pieces and parts of crowds, and I did fussy cut along the top of them. I'm just working here. So I found this image here of the inside of a circus. I reversed the image, so I made 2 of them. Then these are all from different eras. All of these images are. This one, I mean, and I had them stacked up a certain way, but that doesn't mean that that can't be changed too. I mean, it's kind of interesting to put these in order of where they would be, smaller images to larger images. And oh, that's kind of cool, right? So I'm just working on building the crowd, and this is probably, well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different images of the crowd that I've fussy cutted them out as much as I could around their heads, and they'll all get stabiloed and stuff. So the crowd is at work. Now, what I've also done is every single image has been put inside of its frame, and we're going to go back to the table and we're going to put this together. All right, we'll chat soon. Bye. Okay, what's all this? Woo-wee. All right, I will talk you through this here in just a second. Let me get these so that they don't stick together and take off part of the outer parts, which would just be tragic to ruin these gorgeous frames that I've made for all of these images. So here we're just kind of going through. Let me actually pull you up, see if I can get you here. Sorry. Okay, here. I'm not a big fan of lion tamers. I don't really like what they did to the lions, to the elephants, to, the animals. It's just not my favorite thing. I did put a couple in just because, I'm trying to honor the animals themselves. I did not put in any elephants standing on one leg, balancing, because, geez, just wasn't right. It just wasn't right what they did to training to get those animals to do that and all of those things. And I'm a firm believer in that. So the images that I did put in, they were not being harmed. They were not being forced to do something that they, Circus is hard. Morally, it's kind of a hard thing. And we've had this discussion before regarding cruelty to animals, regarding, oh, I need to change my car insurance. And I need to cancel my renter's insurance at my other place. And yeah, I've got this laundry list of things to do. Okay, so I did change out those images. Here we are. Here's what we've got so far. And we don't need the water bottle anymore. Something we can take off the desk. Take that off the desk, I think. Really, all we need right now is space. Space to work. I don't need any more gesso. Okay. So, let's get this one in. The Fabri-Tac worked great. Oh, jeez. Here, I forgot what I was doing. I was confused by my own image. Yeah, so they're upside down like that. And then she flips up. And look how awesome she is. I love that image much better than what was in there before. I think that's super cool for the aerial images. Very happy with that and how that's come out. So I'm going to take my Fabri-Tac. All right, I'm going to go around here, cover up all this gorgeous work here. But, you know, I didn't know which direction I was going to put the frame on, so I did both sides on these. And I want to make sure to get to the edges of where the image is going to be without getting the images yucky. Without getting the glick on the image. No image glickage. You know what I mean, right? Okay, so we're just going to push that down. Fabri-Tac, it dries so fast. Again, it's a tool that I will always have on my desk after working on all of those journals. You know, this was what Nick the Booksmith had recommended, and what a great tool that is. It's an awesome tool. Okay, so this one doesn't look like it got varnished to me. Maybe it did. But I'm wondering, see how shiny that is and how shiny that is not. So let's just fix that real quick. I don't think it's correct, and I'm not going to have one little piece be different from everything else. I'm going to grab a brush that is smaller so I can control. That didn't work at all, did it? Didn't see. Yeah, that wasn't varnished. You can tell the sheen. Okay, so don't do that. That didn't work. What else can I use? Just need a little lid. I need a little dang thing to put the glick in for a minute. Varnish. There we go. And I do not want to get that on the image, although I just did. Maybe I wanted the bigger paintbrush, huh? This thing, what the heck is this thing? That's a piece of crap. This has a nice bristle to it. So, oh god, I just got varnish right on the image. You know, it probably won't hurt anything. It'll probably actually protect the image, but that doesn't mean we want to make it yucky. And I just did it again, but it's okay. I don't mind. You know, this will probably have a little Stabilo in there anyway, and I will go back through and probably take my Distress inks and go over those images a little bit more. I'm just kind of going on these little dead spots here. Make sure. Try not to get anything else. See how much better that looks though? That little varnish on there makes a huge difference. Okay, let me bring the light over. There we go. Sorry. No, we're just getting adjusted here. It's kind of the story of my life right now. Just getting adjusted. Okay. Water guy showed up first thing this morning. He's like, oh, I'm here to get your water on. It's like, I got my water on. And then we've got another guy coming back to check out that system. this afternoon, like at 3 o'clock. The craziness. It's almost like I missed this inside altogether. It's completely changing these tones once again. Or maybe it's just the second layer doing its beauty miss work to it. Okay, and we're going to be putting the images over this, so we want to make sure that it's as pretty as we can make it before we start with the imagery. Okay, so here's where the crowd's going to go. Here's where the tent is going to go. There's all of this background. The background is the crowd watching, I believe. So I'm just cleaning out that varnish out of there. Okay. Hike. Next. All right, let's get the crowd. We are going to need the Mod Podge for this part. We're going to Mod Podge the crowd down and bring in all of our pieces and parts. It's very sticky right now. Don't get your images on there. Or we could put that even here. That might be better. Okay, I'm actually going to print out 2 more of these and possibly use it all in all of the background here. These should be on the very edges, right there. Because we're showing this tent coming up. Hold on here a second. Okay, let's cut her off. Scissors. I know I put 5 pairs of scissors in that thing. I know I did. Cut off this dude back here. If I have to go find more crowd photos, I will too. To make sure that this is right, you know? I'm not going to come this far and then do it to where it's not right. I want to see him. I don't want a flat, but I want to see him. this is working much better here. And they will be stabiloed, you know, so that's... Now, I didn't know that I was going to carry this over. Those little guys are cute as can be. So I want it to make you smile. I want it to, you know, cause you to giggle when you see these people having a great time. All right, so I think what this means, there, so you can see the whole thing that I'm putting together. I think I have to go find more crowds and fussy cut more crowds out. It's a lot of work, don't get me wrong. Hold on here, maybe we can make this work. That kind of works like that. This guy is white knuckling it here. I love that guy. Oh, that's cool. Okay, that's better. Let's see here. I'm liking that background. Yeah, that's why I took that much time on it, you know. Maybe these guys could be back up here. I just lick my fingers to give me just a little bit more grip. Okay, let's take that guy out. Think about where this guy's shirt will come in the back of his head, the shape of the back of his head. You know, that's why it doesn't hurt to know some anatomy. So he's got some crazy hair. Alright, maybe we should just cut out his face there. There we go. Make it interesting-er shape. More interesting. Watch telling me I need to go and walk. That little girl was so cute up there. Okay, so let's cut off this little raggedy edge here. And then this little white edge here. Yeah, a little bit creepy cutting out these people, but it's going to make a difference. Go. Get them back there. So guys, can we fit them in there? We sure can. They don't fit exactly proportionally, but you know, these proportionally would not be there either. We're trying to make a feeling of a amphitheater. Bleachers. So one thing I do like, are you in here, is these lights. I do like that part of that image. And see how this crowd goes back there? I like that. So maybe we can collage that in like that. Now, do these girls add or detract? I think they're funny, but they kind of detract from what I'm doing. Except if we do like something like this, then they fit better. And I don't know how it's going to be that this is going to be on that seam, but our eye will automatically fill in the blanks, right? You can see how far that seam is over there. We want that crowd to be in there. What do you think? I like the giggling here. This girl drives me a little bit crazy anyway. She's cute, but drives me a little crazy. Alright, so just because I put this in here doesn't mean that I can't add more in front of it, right? Interesting. Let's do that real quick here. Oh. This thing is huge. It's hard to work on when it gets this big. Especially when you don't have any space. Still gonna need those tools. I don't want to put them too far away. I don't want to hide them. Okay, make sure it's kind of lined up here at least a little bit. So it's a semi-straight line. There we go.
And I'll kind of frame that out a little bit too. So even though it feels like it's kind of there separately, I will get some sort of, probably with the gel pen even, just do some sort of frame on it. It needs some sort of framework. I get that completely. Let's see if we can't make this corner a little bit less. All right. It's fun, right? We got these two little boys still. They might go in here still somewhere. I might layer more people on top of these, you know? You know? Okay. Let's give ourselves as much space as we can here to get these guys glued down. All right, let's get these here. I'm gonna set those right there. There. Yes, this is the glue. Okay. Bring out Brownie. Looks like it's finally clearing off out there. A little bit, having a little bit of break in the cloud. Hopefully the power comes on soon. And that distress oxide is still coming up. Wow. Okay, let's get some clear Mod Podge in here. Just some straight stuff. Get this protected. It is coloring it. That's okay. It's the right tone. I'm wanting it to vintage a little bit more, taking out the extreme brights.
And I will worry about that fold later, but I will push that image down in there as much as possible. Just with the corner of the brush. And that does start to pull up, which is fine for what I'm going for. Just be aware that you will start to lose some of your print, some of your ink off of here as you do this. See how the wrinkles coming in? That's okay for this application. I'm good with that. I like that. Okay, now bring you over here. I'm going to put these guys here, 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 here. All right. I still feel like I need more of those people, but we're okay with, yeah, I can add more later too. And I don't know if I need it. And I am missing one little boy. Okay. So we've got 1/8 of an inch over here, 1/4 of an inch over there, something along that line. I don't need it exact. I do want it somewhat similar. So I'm going to take off that extreme bitter brown there, and I'm going to go back in and put some more over the top. And putting it over the top makes it more malleable. It allows the image to really stick. All right. And to get into the crevices, because that's important with this, with what I'm doing. I want it to feel like it's a part of the book, not like it's an image glued on top. I want to feel like it's supposed to be there. Pushing in. As I'm pushing in, it's pulling up the ink. Just be aware that it's going to do that. We don't want that to happen. Booger. It's on the gaffer's tape. That gaffer's tape doesn't like to have anything over the top of it. Oh. Let's see here if we can get some more of that color going through there. Okay. Cool. And I know that I'm putting that brown on there. I know that that's happening. You know, if something happens, it doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing. Just be aware of what you're doing and cognizant, you know. We don't need to be lazy while we're doing this. Okay, so I think this one goes down next, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to not glue him down like that much. Okay. I think we're okay to take that over the top, right? Or do we need to? We're going to be safe here and just wipe it off here a little bit. Now, there's an air bubble in there. We're going to try to work it out and take it down and out through the crevice. All right. So what that is reminiscent of to me is an old photo. It's kind of cracking, and yeah, I don't hate that whatsoever. Got a little bit off on her face, a little bit too much, but I'll go back in with the Distress ink pads too and adjust all my final colors. Okay, so we have him up there. Can you see what I've got going here? Okay. Craziness, huh? Okay. Oh, cool. Let's see here. She's kind of a little creepster down there, but she's pretty funny too. So I think she adds and not detracts. Circus, a little creepy. And I'm just going to stick this little bit of color right in here just to meld it all, for lack of a better word. See, making good shapes in between everything. Yeah, you gotta always think about your negative shapes, your negative areas. You know, I guess we should talk about negative space, huh? That's probably a full topic of conversation. And I will be coloring in that part of her there. Okay, I like that. So let's put it down. If you don't like it, then by all means, absolutely do not do it. You know, do what makes you happy here. Okay, let's get these little girls back here. Big old plop of glue. There's ears. And a little crazy chick down here. Okay, we need a lot of glue under here. And we need the glue under him. Okay. Oh, now we need her in there. Somehow, however she goes in there. Oh, wait, his eyelid comes over her face. His butt, her mouth. His hand comes over her mouth, her hair. If I can get it. Come on up, buddy. Come on up. Okay, so I'm going to pull her down a little bit more if I can get her. Come on, don't dry yet. Don't dry yet. Oh, dang it, it's dried. Okay. I'll try to get her fixed. God. Just about got destroyed there. All right. All right, and then we'll get the rest of this guy down here. And we didn't get this little piece in. What I will do is just kind of paint that black in there. Make sure it gets extra stabilo. Whew, it's intense work, isn't it? Gosh. A good extra coat, make sure everything's all flattened down where we want it. Whew, this crowd is going to have to take its own full video, isn't it? This is intense stuff. And there's not enough glue under there. All right. Let's bring you back over to here. Sorry. Okay. His box is still here from the other day. Okay. Get these guys all lined up again. Get that little girl in there where we want her. Because I like her. I actually like her too.
Let's do one more little cut on that. Let's see if we can give her just a little bit more neck, and then we're actually going to take out her shirt. See, the problem is that she's supposed to be behind this one. Instead of in front of. And I like her in front of more than I like her behind. But I don't think we're going to have any choice with that. Unless I take out her altogether. What happens if I take out her? Maybe I can take out her hair. Make an interesting and dynamic shape if you're going to do that. We'll see how it works. I don't know if it will work. Yes, that did work. So this bottom is kind of crookedy. I like that. Okay, and then these guys will go over the top. So these are not quite as intensely layered as the last ones. Push that up so that meets right there. Right, I hope that's where I wanted it. Let's get this half down first. Make sure those little girls and all the women line up the way I want them to. Make sure it's level, and then we will attach. Okay. It's all right if he has splotches of color in there. It's all right. I'm very happy with that, actually, because it does give more variation, more vintageness, more, you know, that guy has a big plop of color on him. Yep, so are those guys. For me, it puts them more into the background. We're going to put just a big glob of stuff on here, and then we're going to go back through and wipe it off again. Now we want to make sure we're getting into those crevices because we want that to fold nicely. Right? All right. Her, come back. See, he's coming back just a little bit. That's good. You know, but these guys are really blending into the background a little bit here. Perfect. That's how I want it. Oh, person's pretty funny. So these pictures are images from people all different eras. They are not just, you know, these are obviously 20s, these are 50s. This is, God, I have no idea. And we want to just make sure that's a nice pretty line back there, because I don't want to cover all up that work, you know? So make sure it's where you want it to be. Beautiful. Did get those to, they work out just fine for me. If you have a better way of doing it, then let me know. But I dig that. Like, that is just right there. Let's see here, one thing. Again, I think I need to go find some more images and build up from here. Crazy. Okay. And these are tucked so firmly underneath of me because I'm stressed doing this. This is a stressful page because I want to make sure that it's right, and it's important to me to make sure that it's right and it's good and that it is the absolute best that I can do it. Right? Gorgeous. Yeah, gorgeous that is. Oh, perfect. Oh, no. Her hand. Come back. It's important that her hand is on there, right? Okay, it's gonna be okay. We got it. Just give it a little nudge there, a little nudge. Perfect. It's like, really? So I think this was a Beatles picture. I'm not positive. But once we stabilo around all that, it'll be just fine. We saved it. Okay. Kind of like those guys just there like that. These guys do have a third little friend. Of course, now I want to cover up that girl. They're pretty awesome. I think they need to go down there. Right there. Can you see what I'm doing? Yeah, you can. Okay. Two little hoodlums. They're having a blast. Hanging out at the circus. Make sure they are straight up and down. Okay. Go. Now, do I want to try to see if I can fit these little ones in here? It's kind of funny. I like that shape better than I like that straight across shape. Oh, I just took off all the ink off of his face. That's all right. They get the picture. This needs a little more glue here at the edge. So I think creating this crowd will actually be one full video here, because it's pretty intense little layout here, right? So I know I have one more little guy somewhere. All right. So I'm going to call that it for right now. And let this dry. Come back, trim them up. You know, we've got some folds here, so we want to make sure that those are all going to work right. We will go around them in Stabilo to see if we need anything more. And we'll take some Distress ink to them. She's going to get definitely kind of calmed down there, but I like her too. You know, she's so awkward. And I was an awkward kid, so for me, it just kind of makes me a little happy there. The crowd. Her little face is just too cool not to include in there. I'm just figuring out where I want to put her. She's so excited. Just building collage, you know. This is how I do my collages. Oh, there she goes. That's where she belongs. I knew I'd find her spot. It's hard sometimes finding it. It's right down here, coming off the bottom. Watching my negative spaces, making sure I'm keeping, you know, some interesting shape in there. Again, it will be all Stabilo, just so it's not like it's the end-all be-all. It's a little bizarre occurring down there, but I think it's okay. You're just layering faces right now. If I can find that one other boy, I think he'd be good right there. Let's see what this guy is. He's looking the other direction, so he kind of belongs over here. But he was off of there, I think. Let's make sure her hair sticks down. Okay. I'll come back. Alright, bye. Okay. I've trimmed up the boys here a little bit. We're gonna fold this in, hopefully not stick anything together. Well, we aren't gonna fold that in yet. I don't want to stick anything together accidentally. Right? So, nice sharp Stabilo here. And, you know, now is where we get rid of all the white edges. Make them all kind of sit together, sit back where they're supposed to sit. A little bit early for this one here. Obviously, it's still wet under there. I have a new pencil sharpener, and so it sharpens my Stabilo to be super sharp, which is great in some aspects, but in the other aspect, it makes a pointier edge, which is doing a little bit of, you know, pulling up on these images. So we're just trying to blend everything back in here. So we're going to just kind of pretend that he goes like that. Okay, there's a bit there that needs some Mod Podge. had just put Stabilo down, so that was risky, because I knew that the Mod Podge would pull up the Stabilo. It worked out okay. So it's wanting to kind of do it there too. Alright, so I don't like to go back and forth. I like to put all my Stabilo down, then I like to go through with my paintbrush, Stumpy, and then come back and readjust. But I don't like going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It drives me crazy. So I have more of a tendency to do it this way. Do it however it makes you happy. If you know, there's a lot of different ways to blend your Stabilo. Do it however you want to. Personally, for me, this is my preferred way, which you guys know. Occasionally, I'll just, you know, use my fingertip and splish it around, but I just don't have the control that I need or want with it that way. And I like to have a controlled, you know, there's not going to be something in here that happens because I don't want it to happen. It's going to happen because I choose it to happen that way. You know, sometimes there's happy accidents, of course. You know, this is kind of interesting here that this has come up the way it has. I don't mind it at all, but, you know, that's a part where, you know, it's likely to happen one way or the other at one point in time or another, because, you know, anytime that you're dragging your paper towel over the top of it, you guys are still in view here, okay. You know, you're going to pull up the ink. Even if it is laser jet, you know, I can't even guess how bad it would be with the inkjet, so. All my images are laser jet. We are going to accentuate these cool. That tape let's come up a little bit here. We're going to kind of go through and accentuate what this gaffer's tape is doing here. Because we can, and we should. It will look beautiful when it's done. And it gives us just a little extra interest here. Do a little bit along the top. Alright, let's get this guy. There. Now you're totally out of the view. See how nicely that has blended together, though? I mean, that's beautiful how that's turned out. Love it! We're going to put a little bit of this in here. It doesn't need much. It just needs to kind of have those white edges softened. And now this needs a little bit more through here because she's pretty obnoxious. So we're going to go in through here. And we're going to tone down her whole face. See how I just went over the top of her face? I hope I don't regret that. But, yeah, it is what it is. What will be, right? Okay, let's get a stumpy brush in here, but dang it, I don't know if I want to just go that slow. Some of my acrylic brushes, it's a bristle brush, so it's got a nice stiff point on it. It might work, it might be a little bit too... Oh, no, that's perfect. So you can tell I had this one sitting in water for far too long. What happens when you leave your brushes in water is that it's really tough on them, and you know, kind of disintegrates the glue that holds the whole thing together. Alright, I'm just working on getting the white edges. There is very little water on this brush. And I'm just kind of softly going over it. Again, these faces I want to just kind of sit in back, so I'm going to actually bring a little bit more Stabilo over them. And her face is definitely not the one that I want to focus on the most back in there. Just kind of hiding them. Just, I don't want you to notice them right off the bat. But I absolutely want them to be there. Okay, just a slightest touch of water, just on the very edge. All right. Now, let's see if it was too much, so just disintegrate it off that Stabilo. There we go. But it brings out this little guy's face. His face is great. Her face is pretty awesome. Alright, let's just kind of pull this through here, see what we can get. We got a little, it has a lot of water on it, so just watch out for it. You know, my Stumpy gets my fine edges. Let's see what this does for us. We're going to pull her down too. Go. I'm telling me I need to go walk. I've already been sitting here an hour. Goodness gracious. I don't know what time it is. Okay guys, I have taken the Stabilo through everything, and you know, sometimes the Stabilo can get things really muddy here, so I'm just going through and seeing if I can clean off a little bit more of that, and just fine-tuning all the colors. And here I'm basically just kind of pulling this purple in to get here, and just to adjust the shadows a little bit. Sometimes it's nice not to have that's black. You know, the purple. This is Wilted Violet. This purple does a really nice job of kind of I don't know, you've seen me use it before. Really accentuate the shadow. It's a good shadow color. Because, you know, most shadows all have a purplish tone to them, honestly. They absolutely have a blue tone to them. And sometimes instead of black, it's nice to have just that extra little bit of beautiness there, right? So. Look what that does to that. And that's giving me the definition that I was trying to get with the Stabilo. Wasn't getting. Sometimes the Stabilo can get a really flat color to it. So this is just, you can't see what I'm doing over here now, can you? So again, we're just adjusting. What I do like what's happening here is we've kind of got an interesting play of the coloration here.
This little girl's head has some white around it, which we don't want the white. Kind of a really bizarre little corner down here, but I like it. I like what it's doing. It's just interesting. And these little guys are just adorable. Love them. It's kind of a bummer his face is totally gone, but it's a little ghostly feeling too, which isn't a bad thing. Because these people are most likely all gone, you know? Maybe not these guys, but that's somebody's grandfather for sure. And then we're going to really push these people into the back. There we go. So I'm choosing my placement of my people by highlighting them and low lighting them. Right now this is low lighting, of course. So if we go over to here, now that I've adjusted that, I'm going to come back in here and do a little adjustment here. There we go. Leaving these brightest brights. So then let's go back in with, what colors do I have available here? Carved pumpkin or ripe persimmon. And they're both very, very orange colors. Let's see here. What do I have for warm marker colors? Now, I haven't tried to use these before. These are American Crafts. They look like they're about the same thing. Aha! Okay. So, we're really going to bring these people forward by warming them. Now, remember, my hands are dirty, so it's also putting a grunginess as soon as I run my fingers over the top. Okay. So these are good colors for what I'm looking for. I'm just looking real quickly. This might be a worthwhile color. I think this was a set of 24. I got it Tuesday morning. Not positive on that, of course. Yeah, these I got it Tuesday morning. Again, they are American Crafts, The Color of Memories, brush marker. I haven't used them before. This is my first experiment with them, and I like them. So, you know, just kind of think of yellowed book pages. That's kind of what I'm going for here. Oh, sorry. I should have you where I'm working. It's hard to remember. So we're going to bring a little brightness into her face to try to bring her forward. But we want to bring in just a little more color into these guys. This guy I'm going to actually leave white. Alright. His little face. Because I leave him white and he will stand out more than anybody else. So I'm choosing who you're going to see. I don't want them to look jaundiced.
So this is essentially what I would usually do with the distressed ink pads. Same thing. Just adjusting color. Let's see about this color. Let's see what this color is. Come on. So I'm warming him up from her in the background. And then I'm continuing to warm up these people, which is kind of funny because can you see? Just taking that white down. Since this is a water-based marker, if I don't like what I do, I can just go over it with water, lift, pull it back up. All right. And for contrast, we're going to leave him white. Go. Now, she almost looks like she's a part of that background now. That's cool. And I'm purposely picking up some of that dirt on these back people. Can't see. Sorry, guys. All right, so what I need to do with this is I need to cool them down. There's the lid here for this guy. Okay. So cooling them down is going to take a light blue or gray. So I'm going to go back to my Arteza. All right, that's a little bit too brash. Just dipped my finger in some water. You there? Okay. And blend. Now, your eye's going to be drawn to that spot. That blue is so beautiful. It does really pretty things to that background too. But we're working on cooling it down. We're adjusting the temperature. Let's get a little more color or a little more water. And we're water painting her. Get this knocked back a bit. And here. Now, if you saw the cityscape, you watched me work with these a lot. I'm rubbing a little bit too hard. It's causing a little bit of damage to the images. Be careful of that.
There we go. Yeah, it's a little too blue right there. We're just gumming it up. That's just water on my hand. There we go. That's better. Okay. So now we have blue over here. We got to pull some over into here too. All right, we're going to lick onto that picture a little bit, but that's all right. So we're going to pull her back. Throwing her into the background. That too. Be sparing where you use it. This one fully covered. And him we're going to throw back just a touch if we can. Try not to go too much more over his face. Let's see what we can do over here. There he goes in.